Welcome, everybody, to the Rivals of the East post-game show. I'm your host, Buzz, with co-host Sean. Week 3 in the book, Sean. And, wow. All I got to say is wow. So, before we get into everything, everybody's probably still digesting the wild game that was the Dolphins and the Bills, as well as the other one, Patriots and Ravens. I did have a little thing I wanted to talk about, Sean. You see this? This is plastic, but this is a dagger. You know, in ancient Japan, Sean, when a samurai would commit a terrible, atrocious offense, they would perform what is known as harikiri, which is seppuku. I believe I said that wrong. And right about now, the Patriot fan base is demanding either Matt Patricia, Joe Judge, or Bill Belichick commit one of these acts up there in Boston, because, oh my God. I mean, I saw the highlights, the lowlights. What the hell is going on with your football team, Sean?
So can I say, I predicted it to be a loss, and in fact, I was only 1 point off of how much the Ravens were going to score. I said 38-21, I do believe.
You did.
So it happened in many ways that I expected them offensively for the Ravens to score on us. It was nothing short of the imagination. Extended drives, Lamar Jackson taking open lanes because they were overextending. Patriots were actually very aggressive on defense, which is something we typically don't see on a Bill Belichick-led defense. Now, Brian Flores, that was a little different. He was a little more aggressive, but I actually will say they were aggressive. Early on, it paid huge benefactors to them actually, aggressively playing Lamar Jackson. Defense had 4 sacks on him. I mean, Dietrich Wise, he was having a field day on the left side. Matthew Judon, he got a few pressures. A questionable Josh Uche had an attempt to sack him and instead sat there waiting for him to pick a lane to run as he runs away from the play and gets the first down anyways. But I digress. Defensively, the Patriots did exactly what I expect. Lamar Jackson had big passing plays to Mark Andrews, did whatever he wanted in that aspect by rolling out of the pocket. The defense wasn't the problem. When you have 4 turnovers on offense and you're 26-37 against the Ravens, and you had maybe 3 attempts where you could have gone up, tied the game, or taken the lead in 1 or 2 different options, I actually say that's a good game. The Patriots offense was a little better than I expected. First half, Mac Jones was on fire. He only had 3 incompletions. He was tearing that defense apart. Where's Devontae Parker been? Because I don't know who that guy was against the Ravens. Maybe the Ravens corner situation outside of Marcus Peters is that bad, because Devontae Parker literally did whatever he wanted. He was over 100 yards in the first half with 4 catches. Mac Jones looked pretty sharp. He scrambled on a few plays, got the first downs he needed. Patriots running game, exactly where they left off. Ramondre Stevenson actually took over in that role today, where he took the charge instead of Harris.
He had 145 yards on the ground.
Yeah, and even Harris, he was effective, but Mondre was the one breaking out. A few Kendrick Bourne plays. It's quarterback play. I keep going back to 2 different things. This season was going to go as far as Mac Jones took him. Mac Jones, as many good plays as he made in the first half, he made that many bad plays in the second half, and that cost the Patriots the game. It was pitiful. It was despicable and disgraceful. And I'm back to the bad with Nelson Agholor. You give us such a good game against the Steelers, and you have such a ridiculous, just an atrocity of a fumble. Literally a weak punch to the side. He had open field, a 26-yard reception. ball just comes out loose and he puts his hands up
Sean,
like, my bad.
that was
My bad.
his second big fumble in 3 weeks.
Dude, it's just I feel like that guy, like,
When are you going to dump his ass? When is New England going to get rid of him?
it's not going to happen. And the reason why is because Kendrick Bourne, there's something going on with that situation. He still had little snaps in the game. Parker became the big guy instead of Kendrick Bourne. And there's something going on there. Patriots attacked the middle of the field even with Jacoby Myers out, which was a late injury that they decided not to go with him. And for the long run, I get that. He's a big piece. And honestly, I think he would have been the difference maker, because I think instead of Mac Jones forcing it to the outside of Parker on that horrendous interception in the red zone, it was unnecessary. He wasn't open. It shouldn't have been an option. And I think if he had Jacoby Myers to leak out and pass, or, those $80 million tight ends that you invested in that yet again are not in the game plan, I am just fucking pissed off with Bill Belichick and his fucking play calling. You go out of your own end zone. 3 straight passes. 3 and out.
What do they have?
You have an opportunity 2 and 14 in their red zone, and you run the damn ball? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
5D chess.
One play action pass, and it nets you positive 20 plus yards, and we don't touch it again. You're in the red zone on that 2nd and 14 in the red zone that Mac Jones runs it and then later throws that whiff to Parker as an interception. Wasn't Hunter Henry a guy that caught 8 touchdowns in the red zone last year?
Yeah. I think he had more touchdowns last year than he does catches this year.
So, you know what? You're absolutely right, because that is a fact. I'm starting to question some offensive play calling. Defense, they kept the Patriots in the game. They gave up a ton of yards, but I don't really look at it that way. They gave the Patriots multiple opportunities where they got Lamar Jackson off the field to give the offense an opportunity, and the offense didn't capitalize. I really put it on Mac Jones, and we're far from even the biggest point of the whole match. You get such an ugly loss in your home opener, and Mac Jones is limping off the field with one leg. And honestly, the minute it happened, I didn't hesitate. I sent a text to my stepdad, sent a text to Buzz, and I was just like, that's the season. And I truly do believe that. It looks like he's going to have a high ankle sprain, even if it's, I think, honestly, even if it's like 3 to 6 weeks, they might give him a surgery. They might not. Depends if he opts out for it or not. Their season's done, and that's okay, because I kind of looked at next year being, you're rolling over probably 80 plus million in cap space, depending on what you do with, Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar. You're freeing up a bunch of money there. If you want to sign
Lamar,
if you want to make more offensive receiver like acquisitions, ones that aren't like bottom of the barrel, paying them 17 million for a year, there's opportunities. I don't know who's going to be signed and what opportunities are going to exist, but there will be opportunities for the Patriots to get some playmakers, reload, and maybe perhaps see if Mac Jones is the guy next year, because I'm left with more questions than answers after this injury, and I'm on the down. I'm on the down for the Patriots. It's going to be a down spiral. And I do remember saying, the Patriots ceiling would be 9-10 wins this season. So I'm going to go ahead and take the low part of that. And I'm going to say the Patriots finish up the year with 6 lowly wins.
6 wins.
2 of the remaining wins they receive are going to be the Jets.
You think they sweep the Jets?
I think they sweep the Jets. And in fact, I think Brian Hoyer makes use of it.
Wow.
Because that's about it.
Flacco.
Because I have zero faith in Brian Hoyer as a quarterback. In fact, I'm ready just right off the bat. If they lose 1 to 2 games, I'm ready for Bailey Zappi to go in there, see what the rookie's got, see if you want to go ahead and potentially draft, another developmental piece at quarterback. I'm fine with that, and I get it. If the Patriots even want to reload and go, hey, let's just get a quarterback that can, roll out of the pocket and make some moves with his feet, because decision making doesn't seem to be paying off when you're having bottom of the barrel receivers. So it's like either you go out, you go big, you get the receivers, or you get the quarterback that can do it both himself. Because if that wasn't any more evident than seeing Lamar Jackson have over 100 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns all himself, he won them that game. And that was very self evident. And that has been Josh Allen the past year and a half as well.
Does Lamar win MVP this year?
Lamar is going to win MVP, and I emphatically say that. Yeah, call it a rash, in the emotion kind of feeling right now. I think Patrick Mahomes has some pieces, and they're not as good as what he's had in previous year. He would have been the guy I would have said, but it doesn't look to be the case. The Bills are going through a series of injuries, as I'm sure you well know, as the Dolphins just played them, and it's hard to argue Lamar Jackson, making chicken salad out of chicken shit over there in Baltimore Raven land.
Does Tua win MVP?
No, Tua doesn't win MVP. I
Oh,
still think he's
Sean.
a joke. But Buzz, tell me about that Miami game. I
Well,
saw another upset with the Miami Dolphins scoring
I'm just
21 points.
you know what? If I just keep saying Miami's going to lose every week, they'll keep winning. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, it's a short week this week coming up. We play the Bengals on Thursday night, but let's talk Bills here. So, when we recorded our last episode, we were talking about the Bills. It was expected Ed Oliver was going to be back, as well as Justin Poyer. The day of the game, both were ruled out. I believe the Bills had coming into that game, they lost their center, their starting center, their right tackle, their right guard, both safeties, both starting corners. Who else do they have? Both defensive tackles, which were Jordan Phillips and Ed Oliver. They were seriously depleted. And I, for sure, once the game was about to kick off, I said, okay, if Poyer's out, then they're sticking a rookie. Their back three secondary had a combined start of 3 games going into the Miami game. I was under the impression that we were going to get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle involved early. Tua's been throwing the ball, 50 times, 35 times, because we can't get the run game going. And I'm like, okay, I could be wrong about this. We could come out and dominate, or at least make it a shootout. I tell you, Sean, it was probably one of the weirdest shit games you'll ever watch. The Bills had, what was it? They ran 90 plays and had 289 more yards than the Dolphins and lost by 2 points. And it's not like the Bills had tons of turnovers. They had one key turnover that was early in the game. Josh Allen got hit from a blindside, similar to what happened to Mac Jones, right? Come off the edge, blitz and hit him. Ball pops out. Melvin Ingram scoops it. They get it at the 6-yard line. And 4 plays later, they punch it in with Raheem Mostert.
Yeah. So just based off what you said, if I even didn't even watch the game or looked at it, it has to be just they didn't capitalize in the red zone. That's when you have that type of yardage and you only put up like you said, 17 points. That's got to be what it is.
I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of this game. Okay,
there's a lot.
There is a lot for both sides. So I want to flat out say this: I believe that right now, with where the Dolphins are, they are definitely in control of their own destiny. Getting this win over the Bills, getting a win over the Patriots, and a win over the Ravens, not the Raisins, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, they might as well be the Raisins.
the Baltimore Jacksons. But Miami's at 3-0. The only undefeated, by the way, Sean, the only undefeated AFC team left, because Matt Ryan and the Colts beat the Chiefs. The only undefeated AFC team left. They're 3-0 in the AFC. They're definitely in control of their own destiny. And say what you want, I will say that the Dolphins are a very opportunistic team. Go ahead.
And like that's I've been banging the drum as much as I've been into a hater, which go ahead, come at me. I don't give a shit. After I see a guy that gets pressure in his face and flops a backyard pass to his like toddler into the yard for an interception nearly, like that's just what he is. That's who he is as a quarterback. But the team as itself, as much as you keep just doubting him, which I do doubt Tua's capabilities as an NFL quarterback, at some
I
point it's no longer luck. It just becomes the new norm. And it's looking like it's either luck, it's opportunity, or if it's a combination. They're getting by and they're making it work. And I
I
can't I can't doubt it. Like if you're doing it, you're doing it. That's all that matters.
I want to equate it to what this team feels like, and that's you know this very well. Remember when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and beat the Patriots, Sean?
Yeah, it was disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very much like that Eagles team. If you go back and watch, they had some really big moments. They had a lot of really crazy games that season, defensive battles that they showed up when you didn't think they were going to show up defensively. I mean, there was just so many different things. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at how this team is, it's a first time head coach who's 3-0, and you've got other head coaches struggling. Um, Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, John Harbaugh's had some rough goes of it. Sean McDermott has also struggled against this team. And particularly on defense, we're not scary. Like, honestly, right now, we are far from it. We're one of the worst defenses in the NFL, one of the absolute worst. But we're one of the best when it comes to capitalizing off of a turnover or getting an opportune turnover.
So doesn't like a certain corner named Byron Jones come next week? Or is it after next week?
Yeah,
Because
week 5 against the Jets. So
I'm gonna
he's
go ahead and say the defense is gonna turn around after that.
it could. We'll see what Byron Jones is like after that Achilles injury. But
Yeah.
um,
I
long
think the
story,
ghost of Byron Jones makes them better.
it could be. But long story short, with the game, here's the good. The good is Miami took advantage of the Bills' injuries. They took advantage of the better conditioning. They took advantage of the opportunities that were there, and they made them count. They did not turn the ball over. Although Tua almost did throw a pick six, Matt Milano dropped it. It was in his
Not,
hands.
not for a lack of trying.
It was a horrible throw. Um, but we had really good pass protection. Miami was able to make the most of short yardage situations and even get to the point where, on defense, we were bend, not break when it mattered most and to stop the Bills when we needed to. I think my biggest thing taken out of this game was the fact that Miami is very resilient. And I think that's something that can play in the long haul. But if injuries start to rack up even more, um, I don't know. But right now, that's the good. The bad, um, we ran the ball 21 times, 17 times and got 45 yards. We have we have the 28th ranked running game. 28th. Do you know that we finished this game with only 226 total yards?
That's bad.
Tua was 13 of 18, I think it was, a buck 86 and a touchdown. I mean, we had one explosive play. It was a 3rd and 22, and we connected with Waddle, which, by the way, Waddle did a great job this game. 4 catches, over 100 yards. Tyreek Hill, dude, was shut down by a rookie corner. 2 catches, 33 yards on 4 targets by a rookie corner. That Bills secondary, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. That coaching and that secondary, holy smokes. The combined backfield on the defensive side of the Bills is $7 million in salary combined. And they shut down Tyreek Hill and contained Waddle for a big portion of the game. However, Waddle did get his. So the bad thing is the run blocking is not good, and the whole point of trying to set up play action is you need to be able to run, and we haven't been able to do that. So that's the bad. I would say the ugly is probably just the defense giving up so much every game. It's ugly. Josh Allen, 400 plus yards passing, 400, spreading it out to everybody. We gave up a bunch of yards rushing. We had a big run of over 40 yards by Zach Moss in the second half. That set up some points for them. I mean, this defense is just getting gashed by everybody, whether they're throwing it, whether they're running it, they're just getting gashed. And you can't expect to stay in games when you're getting gashed like that. I mean, it's
Yeah,
worked so far, but
it's
it's not going to help.
and I'm gonna say two different things where like two specific examples where I saw that could bite you in the ass later in the year. One specifically, I don't know, a 2011 Patriots defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed, as Bart Scott said on the Jets defense. Um, Patriots did whatever they wanted to on offense, but when it came time to, you sense any kind of defensive pressure from the opposing team, and let's say they do get you on a 3 and out, and the other offense just goes right down the field and scores, it's putting unnecessary pressure on your offense to overcompensate, and sometimes that leads to turnovers. So that's not something you want to rely on, is scoring 30 points a game and having 500 yards a game, but your defense can't just allows just as much on the opposing side. That's not winning football. And you know what they say, defense wins, they win
Championships.
championships. And I'd have to say the Patriots haven't had the greatest defenses of years, but when it came to Super Bowl wins, the wins they had, the Patriots defense played better than they should have.
I'll say this too to add,
Outside of the Falcons, they did it in the second half. That's
yeah,
all I got for that.
that's all you needed. I'll say this to cap off the ugly piece. Tua, at towards the end of the first half, goes in the backfield. He goes to make a pass. He throws the ball. Matt Milano pushes Tua, like a typical quarterback push there. Some say it was a dirty hit, some say it wasn't. I'm not going to say one way or the other because I've seen quarterbacks get hit far worse. I've seen some that were taken care of a lot better. So you watch the film and you decide. I'm not going to tell you what to think. But what I will tell you what happened is Tua got pushed and he fell back. And as he fell back, the back of his head slams off the turf. It's nasty. He tries to hurry up and get up. Sean, you've seen the clip. He shakes his head a couple of times like, I got the cobwebs out. He starts walking and then he just goes, and his legs just give right out. And he's like, whoa, whoa. And he stumbles. He goes to the ground and gets back up. The teammates come over, people trying to hold him up. And he's clearly concussed. The dude got knocked. You don't get up and it's Julian Edelman in the Super Bowl against the Rams, right?
The Seahawks.
Or Seahawks, sorry. It was
Yeah.
the Seahawks one where, he just got he kept trying to go and his body's just not now. It just gave up. And I watched that, and the first thing you could hear the whole stadium when he fell was like, oh. And so he's going in to the tunnel to get the evaluation for the concussion protocol that the NFL has in place. Okay. I'm assuming, because Teddy Bridgewater comes in for one series, I'm assuming Tua's done for the day. It's a short week. He's probably going to be done for Thursday because it was bad. But instead,
didn't pass the eye test.
But instead, he came back out in the second half and he played.
Like nothing ever happened.
And they said he cleared. And I said, there's no way. That was one of the worst looking hits and reactions to a concussion I've seen.
And guys, I don't mean to be that guy, but between playing football and just being an idiot generally in my life, I probably suffered 6 to 7 concussions in my lifetime already. Just one recently within the past week and a half. I was in a car accident, and I'm telling you, concussions are a real thing, and it can leave you days just making questionable decisions, just momentary lapses in judgment, or even just in daily knowledge of things that let's say your PIN to your debit card or information like that, where I just completely just lapsed. And I'm telling you, anytime you get up and you start moving, which he did do, and it looked like it took him a little hesitation, but as soon as he moved and you saw he lost complete motor control from his legs up to his neck, his body went limp and dropped. And I've seen that during plenty of football games. I've witnessed it because I've been on the receiving end of making tackles against guys that I should not be tackling up high, and I did, and they rolled over the top of me. And very much in a similar way, I jumped up, went, you know, being the short guy with the Napoleon syndrome, going, no, no, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And the mind was there, but the body wasn't following. And I just dropped right back down like a sack of potatoes to the field.
Yeah, and I just couldn't believe that he came
It's a
back out.
concussion.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so after the game, they come out and McDaniel says he hurt his back.
Yeah. It's,
And then it turned into today, after the fact, it turned into, well, it was his ankle.
yeah,
So
it's a cover
they're
up.
being now, as if one investigation wasn't enough, Sean. The Miami Dolphins are being
Yeah.
investigated again.
NFLPA,
The NFLPA is investigating the Miami Dolphins for fraudulent concussion protocol. Uh,
which I can almost emphatically said that that occurred.
I listen. I would not want any player to get hit like that, wobble and fall to the ground and then go back out there. And no fan should
And
want that because the dude is a human being. He's not just a football player, he's a
yeah.
human being.
And
And
I'm going to go to bat for two on this because I've seen some comments on the Dolphin boards that kind of piss me off. So you're not in the right state of mind. Like it happens to everyone at some point in their life, multiple times during their life. You know, you have something traumatic, you go through shock. You have a concussion where your brain actually took a traumatic hit within the skull. Um, you're not thinking clearly. You don't
no,
make rational decisions. You may think what you're doing is the right thing, doesn't mean it's the right thing always. And in the case where people are sitting there going, well, he made the call to go back on the field and it's up to him. Okay, so you go behind the wheel and you're shit faced drunk and you drive the car and you crash. That's perfectly fine. It's acceptable. That person made the decision, so it's okay. If that's your friend or someone you know, or your, employer clearly knows you're not in the right state of mind to make a decision and you
yeah.
let them make it irregardless of, any negative consequences to their long-term health, shame on you. Shame on you.
I will say that Mike McDaniel was that was disappointing to see from him that
A
happened.
back injury. You mean
Yeah,
spine, and then it goes to, well, it could have been a head because technically his spine's connected to the head. I see where he's trying to rationalize it, but it's a pretty piss poor attempt. It's very clear. There's a reason why the NFLPA is immediately triggered by it, and it all started with the Patriots in the Seahawks game. Is Julian Edelman? He even came off and said, guys, I passed the protocol. Was it pretty? Should I have? And he sat there and kind of went, mm. But he did Julian Edelman things, but he's going to pay that long term. And
yeah.
for especially with having a guy like Wes Welker in your coaching staff in your organization on the Dolphins, you think he would know of all people that concussions are a real thing? And I know he's a warrior because that guy took some hits when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
You got to look out for you. You got to look out for your family.
He's a
You got to
Dolphins
look out for
legend.
your long term. You can't kill yourself. You just can't. But I
Well,
digress. That's on
yeah,
the
so
table.
that's also happening now. And what's even going to be horrible is, are they going to take away our other first round pick if we find out
No,
that
no, no,
we
no.
did get,
I, I think worst case scenario, let's say they do get confirmed that actually happens. It's going to be a team penalty financially. It's not
probably.
going to be a loss in draft picks. It's not like they were cheating. It's not like they did anything like that. It would be the first time anyone's lost a draft pick for something like that. So that's off the table. I don't even think that's an option.
Thank God. Don't give them any ideas though. So yeah, the Bills game, there was some really memorable moments. Just real quick, there you might have seen there was the butt punt where
Yeah.
Thomas
Mark
Morstead's in the
Sanchez
end
was
zone
jealous.
and he goes to kick the ball and it just bounces off one of our players' ass and goes flying in the air out the end zone for his safety. Of course, Mark Sanchez chimes in, being the butt fumble master. And this was the butt safety though. And then there was also at the end of the game, Ken Dorsey's in the booth for the Bills, and they can't get back. Last play of the game, Josh Allen throws the ball to Ian McKenzie. McKenzie tries to get upfield for a little bit, tries to hurry back, doesn't get out of bounds. There's 9 seconds on the clock. They're in field goal range. Allen's going to try to clock it and spike it, okay? They're trying to get to the line. They're 1 second short from hiking the ball to spike it. Maybe 1 second, 2 seconds short. And they can't get it in time, so the Bills lose in dramatic fashion that way, 21-19. And they cut to Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator for the Bills. And Sean, did you see the clip?
He slamming the book against the counter.
He slams his shit as hard as he can. He's like hitting it over and over. He's ripping up all these papers, and he's like, and he's like losing it. And the people in the booth are like, I just could not believe it. And so, yeah, there's been so many memes.
Literally just a recreation of my last playoff loss to Buzz on Madden. It literally is a recreation of that, where he just hears Sean drop off, go dead silent on the mic, and all I see is my animals turning in fear as they see me slamming onto the coffee table as I throw my 3rd interception of the game. Much like Mac Jones at that.
Yeah, I will say you probably had a better. Well, you had Davis Mills, so that was your guy. I think it was, but
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it was. Listen, a win is a win is a win. Nobody is going to talk about who's the better team because the better team's already decided the team that won. I'm on the side that I think if Justin Poyer started this game and Oliver did, it's probably different because I do believe that margin for victory changes with certain players, especially when you think about backfield communication on that 3rd and 22 with Waddle. Probably doesn't happen, but it did. He wasn't there, and that's it. Miami wins. And by the way, any Bills fan that being from Florida, right, Sean? I'm so sick and tired of Bills fans going, well, the humidity and the heat, it was so bad. It's not fair that, our guys, they had the heat on them on the away side. And I'm like, just stop. Shut up.
If you've ever played in the Buccaneers Stadium or Jacksonville, you would truly know what a hot stadium is, because since the Dolphins have actually rebuilt the stadium to where it's partially covered onto the even field, let alone the crowd. Yeah. I tell you what, it's luxury compared to what they have going on in Tampa Bay.
Oh my God, Raymond James.
That thing is a hot box of a stadium.
I go to the night game. I used to go to the night games there. Not during the day. But yeah, I'm so tired of hearing that. I heard some Bills fans saying like, well, since we don't get Shea, why don't we make it even and make it so in December when the Dolphins come up, they don't have seat warmers. That'll show them.
And you know what else will happen is maybe when teams go to play Buffalo, when you have 20 to 30 mile per hour winds inside that bowl of a stadium where it actually circulates, we're going to turn fans the opposite direction and have it blow against the Bills to make it even, because that makes sense.
Every time Chris Collinsworth calls a game in Buffalo, I call it Adams Apple Park Stadium. Now here's a guy. Now here's a guy. Yeah.
I'm going to just tell you a basic statistic or knowledgeable fact that I've only mentioned 3 times in 3 different occurrences with the team. Did you know Chris Hogan used to play?
Now, Chris Collinsworth would be like the worst best man at a wedding. And you know why I say that is because
are you sure he was a receiver, or maybe was all the concussion have him repeating the same nonsensical statements every game?
Listen, I think he'd be the worst best man because could you imagine his speech? Now here's a guy who learned how to settle down and settled for less, waiting for people to laugh, but nobody does, and it's awkward. And he's like, anyways, yeah, I just. Chris Collinsworth, I don't know if you know who we are. I don't know if you're listening. I hate you. So thank you for ruining Sunday Night Football for like the last 20 years of my life.
And I'm just like, That's how I feel about Gumbel. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like,
And another touchdown. Okay, we could go. We're gonna have to do an episode strictly on the worst shitty fucking announcers that ever exist in football. Brian
Booger
Gumbel's.
McFarland.
I'll take Booger over Brian Mouth Marble Gumbel. Like that guy reminds me of like a 4-year-old pretending to be a news anchor. Like I can't stand his voice, and then you see what he looks like. You're like, this dude just looks like a twat, man. Like
Yeah, I'll take the wailing ghost of Tony Romo any day.
at least
Over
Tony's
that.
entertaining.
Tony's entertaining, whether it's useful or pertaining to the
Well,
actual sport, which he did do a lot initially, and now I just feel like he's trying to be very insightful when I'm going, yes, I can see it's third down and short and it's a bunch formation. Yes, they're probably going to go for a screen. Yes, they want to go to the inside. Yes, we understand what leverage is, Tony Romo.
I like that video you sent me of Tony Romo is like, it's just noises that he makes.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to. We'll have to talk about these announcers, but yeah, Chris Collinsworth, Brian Gumbel, Joe Buck.
Oh, here's my best is tonight during this Giants and Cowboys game is how they start it and they go, I don't know if you know about this quarterback, but I got this guy right here in the announcer booth with me. He may have won 3 Super Bowls. He's kind of good. I don't know if you know him, Troy Aikman. I'm like, shut the fuck up, please. Just shut up.
Troy Aikman sucked ass. And anybody who wants to argue that Troy Aikman is rightfully in the Hall of Fame when Zach Thomas is not in the Hall of Fame, that should tell you everything you need to know. Yes, they're 2 different positions. Troy Aikman is still garbage. Okay?
Yes.
Troy Aikman is so
Pretty
bad.
bad stats, but 3 Super Bowl wings. That's the one time you see where like a guy has 3 Super Bowl rings and you go, but did he really deserve it though?
Ask Michael Irvin
Yeah.
when he's not coked up.
When
Anyways,
he's not coked up screaming at people threatening Brett Favre. That's right.
anyhow, we're going to moss this thing. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. We'll have our next episode out for preview of our week 4 matchup. Short week, so it's going to be out soon. Check us out everywhere podcasts are available. That's right. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, everywhere, and YouTube and Instagram. Give us a follow, give us a like, a share. If you like the show, leave your comments. Got an email, rivalsoftheeast@gmail.com. You want to send in any questions, go for it. If you're a Jets fan or a Bills fan and you're contemplating whether you should leave the tribe, by all means, the doors are open. The Pats are on the downtrend, but Miami's on the upswing, so take your bets there. However, you all enjoy. Thank you for listening. Sean, you got anything?
Yes, just remember, fans, we're going deep.